Get Go is a training that my team and I do for the number twos, for those who may be the second in command at their churches. And I believe that there's nothing like on-the-job training, no matter what type of environment or organization it is. But there are certain things that someone needs to possess if they're going to serve in that leadership role. There are things that they need to possess from the get-go. So what we do with the get-go trainings is that we go over specific things and specific qualities as far as leadership and even organizationally, what someone needs to have from the get-go. It is going into something. For example, if a hospital is going to hire a doctor, they're not going to say, well, I need you to learn how to apply certain tools in a surgery. No, you've got to come in with a certain skill set. So what we do, that even if you don't have that role yet, that we now start to paint the picture of what that role looks like. So even if you do get to that point where you want to begin to identify someone for that role, you know what the picture should look like even at the beginning. And again, things that they need to understand from the get-go or at the get-go. Well, however you say that. It is so important that every organization, that every church, that if you are not just going to occupy, but you want to occupy as God desires for the sake of advancement, that we want there to be increase, we want there to be growth, and it is imperative that every leader, every senior leader, have a second in command. The role of the senior pastor or the senior leader is to cast vision and to do that constantly. But the role of a number two or an executive pastor or the second in command is to manage the way in which the vision is carried out. So you probably recall in the Bible when Jethro, the father-in-law of Moses, he told him, listen, if you keep on handling things the way you are right now, it's not going to be good for the people, nor will it be good for you. He's basically saying that if you do not assign the small tasks in the handling of the small tasks to someone else, that you're going to kill yourself. So the importance of having a number two, again, is so that they can manage the carrying out of the vision that a senior leader will set. In our polling of over 200 churches over the past 2 years, we have found that churches that are successfully carrying out the vision typically have a number two. Number two is like a chief of staff almost. And on every level, there are different tiers, and there's always a number two in every area, so that the vision of each area, it meets the requirements of their overall vision, and there will be continuity as it pertains to the overall vision of a church, of an organization, or a ministry. So it is so important that that organizations and pastors have a number two. And again, it's not about the actual title, but just someone who can carry out the managing of the vision so that the senior leader can cast the vision. Having a number two, it takes a certain level and a certain weight of pressure off of the senior leader. Why? Because they don't have to be so involved with the carrying out or the managing of the vision. That's why a number two, again, those things that they have from the get-go are so important, that they understand that, as Jethro told Moses, that you need to assign the small tasks to other people so that when the big tasks come, you're capable to handle those things, because if you don't, you're just going to burn yourself out. That it's not going to be good for you or anyone. So to have that number two, it's so important for any organization. And over the past 2 years, we have polled over 200 churches. And the churches that have been the most successful at carrying out the vision are those that have had a number two, a chief of staff, or second in command. Why? Because then the role of the senior leader is to cast that vision. So I recommend that not only those who are becoming number twos or becoming an executive pastor, or those who are already functioning in that role, come to the training, but I also recommend that elders in groups of leaders who perhaps are even considering getting someone in that role, in that position, I recommend that they also come. Senior pastors, we've invited senior pastors to be a part of this training when they're just going to send their number two. Why? Because a lot of the responsibilities of the number two or the second in command, in order for them to effectively flow and function in their role, it actually has a lot to do with what the senior leader has of their understanding of what they need to take their hands off of. So the role of the number two, it goes hand in hand with the understanding of the number one in the organization. So we welcome, and we've opened up the doors to number twos, to leadership teams, and even we've had some people who have come to our Get Go trainings who they brought their whole team of leaders or the board of directors, just so the picture can be painted for them. What is the importance of having a number two? What is their role, so that when someone does begin to function in that role, there's less chaos, there are less internal issues. Why? Because we have the full picture painted of what the responsibility is of the number two. And again, the biggest thing as far as number two is that the leadership team, the entire leadership team, understands what their role is as the chief of staff. The senior pastor or the senior leader understands, and also, of course, the number two. So that whole crew, we recommend that they all come. So for those who cannot actually physically attend the Get Go training, guess what? We've got you covered. That once you register, you're going to be provided with a link of a live private chat that you will be able to chat with us during the workshop, during times of questions, and when we're engaging with one another during the training and going through scenarios, that you'll be able to engage as well. So register, and then we're going to provide you with that link, and it will be as though you are right in the classroom with us, even though you're probably going to be sitting at home in your pajamas or at your desk at your office somewhere.